Welcome to today's episode of the AI Trailblazer podcast. Today we have a very exciting guest. He is none other than Erez, the co-founder and CEO at iBundle.net. So before we start, we are Convert Inbox and we specialize in installing AI systems that help B2B software companies grow their business and revenue. So if you own a B2B software company and you're interested in the free growth consultation, just drop us the word growth in the DMs below. It's a great pleasure to have you here today with us. Let's start off
Pleasure.
with, you can share a bit more about yourself and what led you to start iBundle.
Sure. So I'm in this industry for the past 10 years. I was working and co-founding a different startup that was in the industry of logistics, shipping, e-commerce. From that startup, which didn't succeed much, we've opened me and my partner Oz. We've opened iBundle as a need. We saw a need in the market. We saw a need of diverse solutions for shipping, B2C shipping, cross border, for e-commerce businesses worldwide. We come from Israel, and we're based also in the US and UK. But we saw that as a global issue, global problem that we want to solve with the help of technology, with the help of AI, with the help of being domain expert in this industry of e-commerce and shipping for e-commerce, which is a totally different thing. So that's how the idea came and what we thought about it to begin with, and it's been up and running for the past 4.5 years. Yeah.
Got it. Nice. So what would you say is the main problem that iBundle is trying to solve? And then also, can you share like more specific examples of the problems that you solve for this B2C e-commerce companies?
Sure. So from one end, we have the e-commerce industry, which is very new, very up to date, very software oriented. Everything is online. It's new, basically. And from the other hand, we have the logistic world, which is old fashioned, very manual, very complex, very much complex. And both of them together, they're just cranking. They can't really work together. If you're if customer have needs of shipments and tracking and support and all these features that are required in e-commerce. When you do a checkout at e-commerce, you want to know where it is, how long it's going to take, what's the price, what's the duties and tax going to look like, which courier, which option are we going to choose. And it wasn't there 5, 6, 7 years ago. And as long as there's growth within e-commerce industry, then there needs to be a growth in the package industry and shipping industry, and we're there to find a very good solution for those e-commerce businesses in providing them with another tier of solution. Very high level, there's two options how to ship a package. It's either the postal or it's either a express, which DHL, UPS, FedEx, which are well known, the big threes. One of them is the cheapest, one of them is the highest, and there's the most expensive one, and there's a layer in between, which iBundles aim to fulfill that layer, and also provide postal and also provide the express when needed, and finding the right route, the right way per package. So it will be sufficient for the client, the end user. It will be sufficient for our client, the business, and that everyone's going to have transparency of that package journey. And we're learning all the time that the system that we build, learning all the time from those routes. We're learning about duties and tax. We're learning about insurances. We're learning about how if a failed journey has happened, so the system learns not to utilize that journey again. Behind the scenes, there's a full brain behind the scenes of iBundle that always learns and has lots of knowledge and has some AI capabilities that will help us solve those issues in the right time or in life. We're working worldwide, working in China, in Indonesia, in the UK, in Germany, in Israel, in the US, in Canada, Australia. So we're very diverse from that perspective. We're not just working with one market. That's in a nutshell.
Okay, got it. Yeah, that is very insightful. Thanks for the detailed sharing about your company. So let's talk a bit about yourself. What is your role within iBundle and then how does it fit into the bigger picture at the company?
Sure. So I'm the CEO at iBundle. I'm a co-founder, and being a co-founder or a CEO in a small startup, it's a small umbrella. We're doing everything. Everyone's doing everything. We have 10 different hats for each position in iBundle, and that's how we grow. So I'm dealing from everything from sometimes customer support, sometimes onboard, sometimes can be partnerships with very big companies, sometimes just a small customer who has a need and need a solution, and it's basically building the right team, which is dedicated to the cause, and everyone's at iBundle understand what we want to achieve, and where do we see ourselves in a few years' time, what we want to accomplish. And it's building those milestones in that way and finding more and more partnerships and understanding the market better and being a domain expert in shipping in that industry. Market is changing all the time, so we have to be very very up to date with all the information. The system needs to be up to date with all the information, all the dramas that are happening in our world, if it's tariffs in the US or any other thing that will reflect the way that people are trading with each other. Basically that's our business, making sure those trades are going to make their way in the most efficient way, time and cost effective way from X to Z. That's the idea.
Okay, got it. Then what would you say are your goals for the company in terms of the growth, let's say over the next 6 to 12 months?
In 6 to 12 months, we're growing all the time. Every quarter, we're growing in customers, in revenue, profitability, and we're looking to spread the word about iBundle. We're currently helping few postal providers worldwide. We're helping them with their high-end products via our system, so we can better solutions for those postal clients. We can find better solution for e-commerce businesses. So I think that it's one of the key metrics we're looking to expand in. And it's expanding as every startup all of a sudden became AI, and we know that each startup has some AI capabilities. We've been working for a long time on our capabilities, which are that's the engine and the brain behind all of that, and it's developing really quick, and we're seeing very interesting results on how people are gonna. Maybe the market is not gonna look like that in the next year. Maybe things are gonna change dramatically, and we want to make sure we're ready once it's happening. We're building iBundle with those AI capabilities in order to be there and to scale as fast as we can, and to scale as fast as we can, but with the right service, with the right measurement. So we won't just scale and leave the customers behind, but grow with them, which is super important to us.
Yeah, important indeed. Then you mentioned that you want to scale as fast as possible. Like what? How do you plan to how do you plan to execute this? What are the go-to-market channels or strategies that you plan to rely on to drive this growth?
So that's our secret sauce. But I think in one of we spoke earlier about that. But AI, I think, will be one of the things that's going to make things expedite agents of AI. If it's supported by AI, if it's when I say agents, it's also an operation. It's also solving problems. It's very very interesting field that we're now building, and we're trying it out, and hopefully it's going to be very successful, and those things are going to eliminate the number of employees we will need to have in place in order to support our customers, to onboard them, to help them with the issues, to keep them satisfied, to do customer success, to help on to monitor their packages, their inquiries. All of those things are currently a work in progress, and it looks fantastic from that point. But to be honest, no one really knows how it's going to be in a year time, and we think it's gonna change a lot in our industry. And we hope that the efforts and the investment we're doing now in development will get us to that point which we're going to be ready for that kind of scale when it happens.
Then what are the go-to-market channels that you currently rely on to get most of your customers? What has worked well and and then what hasn't worked as well as you expected?
I think that you know what I'm a long time in this industry, and there's lots of ways how to market and how to gain new customers and new leads. But I find that if you bring a good service to your clients, and your clients becomes not just clients, but they become kind of fans of your product, then they will be the best marketing out there. And I think that's exactly what we're trying to achieve, and make our customers are kind of partners and kind of fans of the product, so they can expand the word, and put iBundle out there. And the reason we have so much diversity worldwide, it's not because we've made marketing in I don't know, in Indonesia or anything. It's because people heard about us from people there, from customers that working with us, and from that cycles growth very fast if you're doing things right and you're doing it. I believe that if it's the right product and people and there's actual value in that product, the organic marketing can be much more beneficial and expand much more faster sometimes than paid one. I would say that's one of our most the highest leads I would say we get.
Interesting. Okay, so it's about a lot about referrals and relying on product-led growth. And what about the initial stage? How did you get your initial customers? Was it through your warm network referrals, or was it through other channels like email or LinkedIn?
Yeah, we have some presence in the social networks, and obviously we update our customers with our latest versions, our latest news. But to be honest, from those from within the industry itself, and people, it's a huge world, but it's a small industry at the end of the day, and a lot of people know each other from within the industry. If we can help, and sometimes we can't, the people outreach us, and we can't help them with something that it's not within our focus. But if we can help them, we can give them a values. We will be there, and that thing will expand. Customers and companies are looking for solutions, and they will ask in the industry, and they will get to us from those referrals, which is fantastic.
Okay, cool. Then what are some of the biggest obstacles that you've faced in your journey so far while trying to grow iBundle?
There's a lot. There's a lot of
Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe I could rephrase the question a little. Like, let's say, hypothetically, if you had a magic wand to, I guess, fix one thing in the business right now that is either holding you back or slowing down your progress to get to your goals, what would that one thing be?
I don't know if I have one thing in particular, but there's I think always in startups there's the you need to raise money, and you need to sometimes you work in not in the right spaces. You work in raising money, and pitching your ideas and your vision. I think that's one of the, and obviously that's part of life of startup, and that's okay. But I would love to minimize it as much as I can, so I can focus on the products. I can focus on customers, on growth, of innovation. Those are the things that I have the passion for, and I want to deal with them, less of pitching to VCs, etc. Which I think also that thing is going to change now with the revolution of AI. Lots of things are going to change in that as well, and I embrace that. I think that's that thing in general, not just for us, but for a lot of startups. It takes a lot of their time, a lot of the CEO times to find funding in that, if it's investment, if it's fundraising, etc. Each one with his own. We found that it will be the best for us uh, to be actually a business, to make money at the end of the day, make money so we can be sustainable, and that's working very well for us. I would recommend it to others to move as fast as you can to revenue more than not just revenue scaling and losing, but being sustainable. I think that's the name of the game today, and startups should look for how they can be not even profitable, but break even within a short amount of time, which I know it's very, very challenging. But I rather do that than spending 80% of my time pitching for money, if that helps.
Okay, so other than, spending, I mean, fundraising taking up a lot of your time, what are some of the other potential obstacles or hindrances that you have faced while growing iBundle?
I think it depends on the industry, but for us, regulations can change a lot. And let's say the Trump tariffs, they're a big deal for us. it's a really game changer, and we need to do a huge shift in our business in order to facilitate all those new tariffs that keep on changing every time. So it's very hard. It's very hard when you don't have that certainty in place. So for us, it's if the market was more certainty, then great. That will help us being focused on something that we can grow. But from because the market is changing all the time in our industry, from regulation, from duties, from tax, companies that are bankrupt and going back, it's hard to find the stability. I think we found we're in a very good place of stability within that chaos. Again, no one knows what's going to happen in America in the tariffs, how it's gonna continue. It's not something what was signed. No one really knows what's been signed, so we're all waiting for it. So we know what to do. We need to implement lots of stuff in our company just to accommodate those regulations. So I think that's one of the biggest issues we have as a company, as a software company within the shipping, the cross border world. That's one of the biggest issues.
Sound like major headwinds for the growth of iBundle. Then, yeah, I wanted to circle back to a point that you made earlier as well. Like you say that one of your goals was to have sustainable growth, right? So I was curious, like, what are some strategies that you've used in order to ensure there is a sustainable growth rate for iBundle, or any advice you would like to give to, I guess, other startup founders out there on how to ensure a more sustainable growth rate?
Yeah, I think there's lots of ways how to build a startup. There's not like a wrong or right way, but I think the most helpful thing that helped me along that journey is to look at it. At the end of the day, it's a business, and it needs to look like that. And a lot of people are forgetting that when they're building a startup. They have a vision. It's great. It's fantastic. It's super techy. It's AI, whatever we want to call it, whatever the hype is in that time. And they forget how that thing is supposed to make money and when is it supposed to make money. To burn $5 million in 2 years, that's very easy. A lot of people can do it with a right vision. But converting that money and converting it to be sustainable and to build something, a strong structure, sometimes it comes in a longer way for sure. But I prefer that method that there's a business structure goes. The growth is it's a smart growth, not just growth, the famous hockey stick that everyone loved 4 years ago. And today, not everyone, but lots of startups that have those hockey sticks, they just burning money. They need to raise and invest more and more money in that machine that might be profitable
What do you
within
mean
four or
by the
five
hockey stick?
years. There's a hockey stick of startups love those hockey sticks, and when you have hockey stick in your revenue or customers acquisition, everyone loves to have it. Boom, there's a huge spike. Everyone's happy. Investors are
Yes.
happy. Wow, everyone wants it. It's great. I'm not saying it's not a good thing, but you need to understand very fast how you're gonna turn it into revenue and how you're gonna turn that revenue into profit. And in those stages, you need to be minded that it's at the end of the day, it's a business. It's a business that calls a startup, but it's a business that needs to maintain sometimes. Sometimes it just needs to burn 10 years until it explodes and you can sell it in, I don't know, X. But in my approach, it's a more responsible way, more business structure within that vision, and taking it in milestones that can bring it to a healthy growth.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So we are going into the last segment of our podcast here. What kind of shifts are you seeing in your industry right now? And then how is that impacting the growth of iBundle? I know you mentioned something about the AI and tariffs already. So, you could maybe go a little bit more in depth into these trends, or you can talk about other trends that you're seeing as well.
Yeah, there's a huge trend, obviously, of AI, and I think a lot of companies, not just in our industry, are trying to find what can they do with AI and how it's going to help them in their industry. We found what we want to do now at this position with AI. If it's with, as I said, with agents, with support, with tariffs, with duties and tax, with helping us to choose the right journey of a package. Those are the things we're focusing on. I don't know what's going to be in a year time, but and how AI is going to develop. But I think it's a huge game changer that going to change every startup, from hiring more staff or hiring developers and hiring support and operation and designers. It's going to be very interesting time to be in the industry, and to be to keep the post, to see what's changing. And every day we learn something new, and we change some things within iBundle. Things that 2 years ago we thought that that's the next generation. No, today it's not something that people would need. So we need to be up to date with the industry and understanding what's available for us to utilize within our industry. And there's a lot to do, and we really hope we can scale and be there and add value to our industry in general.
Yeah, actually, that is about it for the podcast interview. Erez, thank you once again for taking the time to jump on this podcast and sharing these valuable insights with our audience. I'm sure they have learned a lot about the e-commerce industry, some of the challenges it's facing, some of the trends that it's facing as well as a bit more about your company. So appreciate the insights.
Thank you very much, Bruce. I appreciate the podcast and the listeners and the opportunity you gave me. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you here today.